everyone, welcome back to another video of my opinions about classical music. If you're a new viewer, welcome, and if you're an old viewer, welcome back. Super happy to have you here either way. In today's video, I wanted to come on here and talk a bit about contemporary music. This was inspired by TwoSet's Violin's video titled "This video proves contemporary music is a joke," but it is by no means a call-out video or anything like that. Did the video title hurt a little? As a contemporary composer, yeah, it did. But do I think they had bad intentions? No, not at all. All the love in the world to them, I love them as you know, but I want to reflect a little around contemporary music, particularly in relation to classical music, as well as comment on a few things regarding their video and the impact it may end up having. First of all, let's talk a bit about what contemporary music actually is. The term is a bit vague, and even in the art music community, the definition isn't actually agreed upon. I personally discovered this when I moved from Norway to Denmark and found that even between neighboring countries, the definition isn't necessarily the same. As I see it, there are two main ways to define the term contemporary music. The first definition we get from looking at the word contemporary. If we Google it, the definition we get is living or occurring at the same time, or belonging to or occurring in the present. In other words, music that is made in the present, or at least recently. Another term to use could maybe be new music or recently written music. Now, where the line for recently goes is a whole different discussion, but most people would agree that the composer at least has to be alive still for it to qualify under this definition. Generally, people would only use this term for art music, but there is of course an argument to be made for this term to also apply for commercial music, as it too oftentimes is made in the present, or at least recently. The second definition is related more so to the genre of contemporary music. This is likely the kind of music you would think about when you hear the term contemporary music. Some examples of this would be the stuff TwoSet's showed in their video, or it could be 433 by John Cage. For some people, it would also include music by composers such as Alban Berg or Arne Nordhagen, both of which are dead, and have been for a few years. Personally, I vibe more with the first definition, which includes a bigger range of music styles, but I don't think people necessarily are wrong to define contemporary music as the genre of contemporary music. It is, however, important to be aware of the differences in definition, especially when expressing opinions about one or the other, as whatever opinion you express may affect both versions, if you will, of contemporary music, if you are not clear about what you mean. Now, no matter which definition you feel is the right one, most people would agree that contemporary music is a descendant of what we today refer to as classical music. Both are what we call art music, the difference is only the time in which it was made. At one point in time, Beethoven was contemporary, and he also did things that broke away from what was normal at the time. For example, singers in a symphony was basically unheard of before Beethoven did it in the last movement of his 9th symphony. The problem the composers of today have, if we can even call it a problem, is that there is so much that has already been done. There's practically no instrument combinations that have never been explored or notes that have never been put together, and we already broke open the traditional forms like symphonies and sonatas back in the 1900s, and some may claim we reached the peak of what we can do with the traditional functional harmony around the same time. This is part of the reason why the sound of today's art music ranges from atonal sound exploration to melodic revisitations of symphonies, and everything in between and nearby. And whether you like both ends of the spectrum, or one, or none, that's completely fine. I'm not here to please anyone's opinions. Would be really weird of me if I did, seeing as this YouTube channel is literally just my opinions. However, I do think there is a point to be made about how we let our opinions be known. On my channel, I try my very best to keep the tone of my opinions positive, even if I give criticism. I don't feel good about making jokes or being overly harsh when talking about someone's art, especially when I'm talking to an audience on a YouTube channel. I think this is part of the reason why TwoSet's video, and especially the title, made me feel as uneasy as it did. And look, I get the joke. I even thought it was funny. I laughed a bit during the video. You better believe that, as a contemporary composer myself, I have heard all the jokes about graphical notation. I know that they don't mean any harm, and that it's supposed to be in good fun, in the same way that when you call your friend dumb, it's not to insult them. But I am terrified of the fact that there are so many people out there who will see the video and its title and not take it as a friendly joke between two closely related art forms, and then they will use it to justify shitting on people's music because it's not to their liking, or even worse, to take away funding from this art form because, whether you like it or not, TwoSet does potentially have that kind of impact. Contemporary composers aren't trying to erase classical music, but rather be a part of the classical music of the future. I think it would be a positive for everyone if we could lift both sides up, especially considering the close ties between them. TwoSet has done this in the past and hopefully will follow through with making another video about contemporary music like they suggested in the comments of the video. And yeah, I think that was all I had to say about this topic actually. I really hope it didn't come across as a call-out video because that is not my intention. I don't actually think that TwoSet has anything against contemporary music. I think it was just one video that didn't land the way it was intended. Okay, before we finish though, I want to throw in some quick tips for when you are checking out contemporary music, like the examples TwoSet brought up in their video. Number 1. Listen with an open mind. Not all contemporary music is supposed to be nice to listen to. Number 2. See if there is any information about the meaning or thoughts behind the piece. If you're listening to a live performance, which by the way I would recommend over listening to a recording, this is often in the program notes. It might also be available on the composer's website or even in the score. Number 3. If you are into reading scores, but you don't understand what is written because it looks more like a diagram than a piece of sheet music, there is more often than not instructions at the beginning of the score to help you with the reading. And those were the tips I have for today, but I am more than happy to answer any questions you may have in the comments below. I will leave links to the pieces I suggested for TwoSet to check out in the description, so you can check them out as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched the whole video, you get a gold star as always, and I really hope I will see you back here next time.